Some tourists say they are now willing to spend more when they travel to the mainland. This after authorities lowered the application threshold for a departure tax refund to 200 yuan in an effort to boost inbound consumption. Mimo Singhai reports.
The adjustments were announced and introduced on Sunday. Under the changes, foreigners who spend at least 200 yuan at the same shop on the same day can apply for a departure tax refund. Meanwhile, the upper limit for the tax refund has been raised to 20,000 yuan.
The two of them was 297 renminbi. Tax refund is good, and I am going to use this opportunity to broadcast this.
It's better, yeah. So we're going to look around. We're going to the malls.
The Ministry of Commerce said the refund rate for general products is 11%, which is equivalent to a 10% discount. For instance, Huawei's latest mobile phone costs 7,499 yuan. The price will be 6,600 yuan after a tax refund. Guangzhou and Shenzhen are the two latest mainland regions to adopt a refund upon purchase service model, offering tourists their tax refunds instantly at retail outlets rather than waiting until they leave the country. Shenzhen currently has more than 400 shops that operate under such a model. Authorities said the total revenue generated from departure tax refund products in Shenzhen reached 175 million yuan in the first quarter of the year. Mums 9, TVB News.
U.S. President Donald Trump repeated his claim that China wants to reach an agreement on tariffs and he expects progress. Trump has suggested that he's in contact with President Xi Jinping, but Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said he was not aware of any recent contact between the two leaders. Nazvi Karim reports.
On his way to the White House from Morristown Municipal Airport in New Jersey, Donald Trump was asked if he had been speaking to Xi Jinping.
A little bit. Look, a little bit. They want to make a deal, obviously. Right now, they're not doing business with us. You know, people talk about going cold turkey with China, meaning just forget about it. We were losing hundreds of billions of dollars a year with China, and now they're not doing any business with us, you know, not because of them, because of me. Because at 145%, you can't do business. But something's going to happen that's going to be positive.
Trump last week hinted that the high 145% tariff on Chinese goods won't last for long, seen as a climb down on his part. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent did not back Trump's assertion that tariff talks with China were underway, adding he was unaware of any contact between Trump and Xi. In Beijing, Chinese officials downplayed the potential impact of a trade war with the U.S. Zhao Chunxin, vice chairman of the National Development and Reform Commission, said the U.S. is creating bargaining chips out of thin air, bullying and then going back on their word, a strategy he said was bound to fail. He added that the import of grain from the U.S. accounted for a low proportion of China's consumption, and other supply sources are available. Vice Minister of Human Resources and Social Security Yu Jiadong said China is ready for uncertainties and possesses the toolbox to deal with employment issues and encourage entrepreneurship. President Xi, meanwhile, is expected to visit the financial hub of Shanghai this week. In his last visit in November 2023, he urged the city to build on its strengths as an international financial center and take the lead in technology. Nazvi Karim, TVB News.
China's top diplomat Wang Yi has landed in Brazil for the upcoming BRICS foreign ministers meeting. Analysts say China will seek deeper cooperation with members of the group to take on the tariff spat instigated by U.S. President Donald Trump. Danny Zhou has the story.
Foreign ministers of 10 BRICS member states are poised to gather in Rio de Janeiro from April the 28th to 29th. Their meeting will convene under the theme of strengthening Global South cooperation, with discussions on trade, hygiene and artificial intelligence. Some scholars think the main focus of Foreign Minister Wang Yi's trip will be on garnering support from BRICS members to uphold globalization and pull a concerted effort to cope with the US's tariff war and hegemonic pretensions. Political scholar Sonny Lo said Wang's visit highlights China's multilateral diplomacy, echoing President Xi Jinping's recent Southeast Asian tour. He noted that China tries to get more support, from Brazil in particular, in a bid to counterbalance Washington regarding tariffs, adding that South-South cooperation has emerged as a key strategy in China's diplomatic policies. China has been Brazil's largest trading partner and export destination. Some think tanks suggested that Wang should take the opportunity to discuss importing more Brazilian farm products, including soybeans and meat, so as to reduce its reliance on American supplies. China could also assist in the construction of a rail link between Brazil and Peru's Chenque port, bypassing the Panama Canal and reducing freight costs. Hui Qing, research director of Hong Kong Jiming Institute, said he believes China will make further pledges or come up with specific plans to expand investment in Brazil and other Latin American countries. Hui noted this direct investment is expected to build on mutual trust and would also be a confident booster for Latin America's further development, especially in financial stability. Danny Zhou, TVB News.
Welcome back. Senior Assistant Commissioner of Police Yip Wan Lung was appointed as Deputy Commissioner of Police today. Yip joined the force as an inspector in 1991. He's experienced in criminal investigation after serving many years in the field. In 2014, he was promoted to Senior Superintendent and became Chief Superintendent 3 years later. Yip rose further in 2020 when he assumed the position of Assistant Commissioner and took charge of the crime wing. In 2022, he became Director of Crime and Security upon promotion to Senior Assistant Commissioner. The funeral of late property tycoon Li Shaoqi was held at Hong Kong Funeral Home today. Li Shaoqi's two sons, Peter and Martin, emerged from the Memorial Hall and expressed their gratitude to the media. Mourners included Chief Secretary for Administration Eric Chan, Financial Secretary Paul Chan, and Legislative Council's President Andrew Leung. Many lawmakers also came to pay their respects. A white tent was set up at a nearby playground for the public to pay tribute. Some Henderson employees said Lee was a caring boss and they were grateful to be able to work for him. Lee passed away last month at the age of 97. He'll be buried in his hometown, Daliang, a sub-district of Shunde in Guangdong Province. The Singaporean government has been actively promoting its green policies. They include not just funding the renovation of older premises, but also mandating new construction projects to incorporate green elements. Scholars from Hong Kong suggest that similar practices could help the city achieve carbon neutrality by 2050. Jackie Lin reports.
Dubbed the City in the Garden, Singapore showcases impressive greening efforts. The Gardens by the Bay in the east of the city-state stands as a testament to urban landscaping excellence.
Everywhere you have tree, plant, some place for relaxing. Never see a place like Singapore. It's really an exception here.
Singapore is home to numerous green buildings, including a hotel in the urban area that boasts over 15,000 square meters of green space, featuring more than 50 different plant species. More than a decade ago, Singapore launched a funding initiative that offers a 50% subsidy for completed buildings. All new constructions must meet the minimum score of the country's Green Mark certification scheme. Singapore aims for at least 80% of its buildings to achieve Green Mark certification by 2030, with over 55% already meeting the standard. Local organizations focused on green building initiatives report that many developers are willing to renovate under supportive policies.
People are very willing to invest in that green character. In Singapore, there is a lot of encouragement from at every stage of the building's life, so that then that whole greening story, city in nature, building in nature, can continue on.
According to a recent report from the Hong Kong Green Building Council, nearly 7,800 properties were registered for green building assessments by the end of the previous year, with over 80% being new constructions. Professor Jim Chi-yong of the Education University's Department of Geography and Environmental Science argues that in Hong Kong, green buildings mainly refer to energy-efficient buildings, and they often require substantial investment in equipment, which necessitates costly maintenance. He adds that most of these buildings lack vegetation and believes the government should clarify the definition of green buildings. Jackie Lin, TVB News.
That's the news. Thanks for watching. Pearl Magazine is up shortly. See you then.